Welcome. In this video I'm going to be taking a look at the CMTECK XM550 USB microphone. So this was provided to me by the distributor, but they're not compensating me for this video and they're not reading it before I post it. If you find this video helpful and you want to purchase one of these, I'll put a link to it in the description on Amazon, and if you use that link it helps me out a little bit and doesn't cost you anything extra. Let's take a look at the bottom here. It says crystal clear sound, mute button, noise cancelling, LED indicators, USB plug and play, USB-C connectivity. On the specs it says microphone capsule is 14mm condenser, holder pattern is cardioid, frequency response is 30 Hz to 16 kHz, sensitivity is -38 dB plus or minus 3 dB, equivalent noise level is 160 dBA max, maximum sound pressure level is 120 dB, signal to noise ratio is 70 dB, sampling rate is 48 kHz, 96 kHz, 192 kHz, 16-bit, 24-bit. Let's open this up. Okay, so here we have the pop filter. This is going to help filter out those P sounds. So it's recording the sound and not the P from your breath. Here's some rubber isolation bands. Here's the mount. It's the microphone. Here's the USB cable. It's USB-A to USB Type-C. And here's the quick start guide. So here we see the specs again. Here are the different parts. There's a foldable metal tripod, USB-C port, pop filter, USB cable, microphone mute button. So green light means connected, red light means mute. So it's a touch button on top of the microphone. This talks about how to set it up in Mac OS and Windows. So this is going to work in Mac OS, Windows. It'll probably work on other systems that also support USB microphones. So I'm guessing this would work in Linux or a Raspberry Pi. So here's some tips. It says place the mic 3 to 5 inches away from your mouth. Set the control of the microphone and input level on your computer to 60 to 80%. High volume setting is always the culprit of poor sound quality. So it has some different tips in there. And one thing to point out is anytime you set up any microphone, you do want to do a test. You do not want to set it up, start using it, and then find out later that you had a problem. So you always want to do a test. So it looks like these bands are just replacement bands. So I put these back in the package. So we can slide the microphone in here. So this shock mount here will keep vibrations from coming through the stand into the microphone. And it looks like we talk into the part that says CMTECK. And then these fold out. These are metal legs. I'll plug the USB in here. And actually this is the front, so I'll rotate this. And then we can snap the pop filter on here. Like so. And there's our setup. So now this can plug into a computer. So that's a nice little compact microphone. When you're done with it, you can fold these legs in. You can also adjust the angle here with this thumb screw. So this will tilt up and down. So I'll tilt mine up just a little bit. Pull these legs out. So a microphone like this would be great for travel since it's all in one. So I'm going to hook this up to my computer and then we'll run some sound tests. Okay, so I have this hooked up to my computer right now. Now I'm on a Mac. On the Mac, if you go to System Preferences and then Sound and then go to Input, you can select your microphone. So we can see I have the microphone selected here. Now we can see the input volume is up really high. I don't know what this is going to sound like until I play it back, but it did say to turn it down a little bit. So I'll turn that down to, that's about 75%. I'll go a little higher than 75%. So if the audio was blown out a little bit before, hopefully it's a little bit better now that I've turned that volume down. Now if it's too low, I could always turn it back up. So I'm going to stop my screen recording and then I'll take a listen to the audio. Okay, so I watched back the video I took and the audio was just slightly blown out. I think it was very usable, but turning it down a little bit did, I think, improve the audio quality. So I'll probably leave it at that setting. So one thing I wanted to show after I plugged it in, you can see a little green light here. Actually, I'll just pull the pop filter off. So there's a green light back here, and if we tap that, it's red. So that's mute. So if you're recording something and you want to mute, you can tap that as opposed to going into your software and hitting the mute. This might be a little faster. So a lot of people focus on video when they're recording things, but audio is just as important or maybe even more important. So probably the number one use I would use a microphone like this personally would be for a screencast. Like I'll do a tutorial where I want to record the screen. So it's important to have good audio for that. This would also be important for doing things like Zoom calls, Skype, teleconferencing, FaceTime, things like that. So you want to go in those settings and make sure you have this mic selected. Sometimes it might use it if it's a system default. Other times you might need to select it manually, but you always want to know what you're using. And then of course a big thing at the time I record this is podcasts. This would work great for podcasts. You could plug this in and record your voice. You could get multiples of these and plug them in and give one to each person so you have discrete audio from each person in the podcast. I like that this is a simple setup that uses just USB. With a traditional microphone, you might have XLR cables. You got to take the XLR cables out into other equipment and then convert it over to USB. And it's just a big mess of wires. With just a USB cable here, you have one wire going to the computer. I find this stand to be very sturdy since it is metal. It just feels very rugged for its size. And as I said before, you can fold this up so you can easily stow this away if you're traveling with it. So that's the CMTECK XM550 USB microphone. That's all I'm going to cover in this video. If you have any questions, please leave them in the comments. If you like this video, please click like. If you haven't subscribed to this channel, I'd appreciate if you could do that. And thanks for watching. Until next time, goodbye.